I'd like to do House Bill 538 first, since we have some friends from the Liquor Commission that I would like to hear from, if it's possible. We missed you last week.
This doesn't have good.
What? I think this is what they emailed us.
Oh,
Yeah, it is. I just wasn't sure if it got distributed to everybody, so I figured we'd make sure we had copies.
Could I have an extra one here, please?
Yes. Oops.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right. All right.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yep. Just thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry for our tardiness last week. We didn't get it on our schedule, so we apologize for that. I'm Joseph Malika, Chair of the New Hampshire Liquor Commission, and with me is Tina Demers, our CFO. And 538 is kind of just a cleanup bill from things that had been done years ago at the commission. Back in 2014, there was 3 commissioners that ran the Liquor Commission. In 2014, through a bill that was sponsored by then Chair Ober of Finance, we went from 3 commissioners to a chairperson and a deputy commissioner. And during that period of time, the language of the wording commissioner was never taken out of the bill. So what we're looking to do in the cleanup is 2 state officers will be compensated and a position will be deleted. So the Liquor Commission Chief Operating Officer, or the COO position, will go away. The Liquor Commissioner position, which went away many years ago but was never deleted from the bill, will go away. And we'll add a Director of Administration, which will take over the COO position, and then add a Director of Finance and Auditing. And further into the bill, we'll explain to you why that's so important to the LBA. It's something that's been added in 3 of our audits over the years, and Tina will walk you through that piece when we get there. So more of a cleanup and changing the titles of positions rather than adding a position. The only position that will technically be added will be the Director of Finance and Audit. So on the 3rd page, you'll see.
Excuse me,
Sure.
there's only, oh, if you're looking at your presentation, there's only 1 page of the bill, so.
Yeah, only 1 page, that's the bill. And then the other ones are just explanations, which I'm happy to go through if you'd like.
I think we could just ask questions.
Sure,
So-
okay, absolutely, Madam Chair, whatever you'd like.
All right, so in essence, you're deleting 2 positions from the list of classified positions and adding 2 positions, all at the same labor grade, until JCEC finishes with them, correct?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
All right, are there any questions from anyone else? Representative Schmidt?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Welcome this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
A couple of us on this, Representative Sitek and I are on the so-called, not so-called, that's its name, the Joint Committee on Employee Classification, which I'm sure you're familiar with. And has this been before the JCEC, or does it need to go?
It has not. It's our understanding, and we put that on page 6, Representative, that it's our understanding that the position needs to be created and put into statute. Then the letter is sent to the Department of Administration. Then it's reviewed and approved, and then it goes to JCEC. That's our understanding of how that's done. If we're incorrect, please let us
That's
know.
kind of not the way I think what needs to be done is that it needs to go to JCEC first, because it's the JCEC is the executive body with regard to this. The committee, this committee then puts that decision into statute, then it goes to finance for, any financial aspects that need to be put into the budget. So
Well, we're happy to do that.
I'm sure
Sure.
this is all basically a housekeeping, and I don't see that we have any objections whatsoever to the whole concept. So, but it will have to go to JCEC, and so.
But the intent is that you're using level GG as a tentative level until it's approved, correct?
That's correct, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Right. So Commissioner Arlinghouse would be happy to set up a meeting with JCEC for this purpose.
Okay. Thank you,
At
Representative.
least once the bill gets through.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can't see too many people objecting, just retitling one position. All right. Any other questions? Well, since we're, all right, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We're glad to have you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right.
Members of the committee, thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
All right. So does someone have a motion on House Bill 538?
I'll move on to pass.
I'll
Okay, is there a
second.
second?
I'll second.
Okay. Do you wish to speak to your motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This seems to be a rather simple process of making sure that the titles are aligned with the functions, and I think that this is a good step forward.
Representative Groda?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have nothing to add.
Okay. Does anyone else wish to speak? Comments, questions? Representative Pearson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So looking at the way we classify positions here with the removal of two or the reclassification of two within the same pay scale, it would seem from a budgetary standpoint that this kind of is a zero out. Only with the caveat that one of the positions has not been filled in some time. I do get that, but I would, since we're not trying to put these positions at a grade higher than what they've currently had, I think it makes the transition over to this a whole lot smoother.
Very true. Anyone else? All right, and seeing no further questions, the motion is ought to pass by Representative Leon, and the clerk can call the roll.
Representative Leon.
Yes.
The clerk votes yes. Representative Pearson.
Yes.
Representative Bailey.
Aye.
Representative Sheehan.
Yes.
Representative Boyd.
Yes.
Representative Slotchie.
Yes.
Representative Kiba.
Gagny.
Oh, I did not get that.
Oh,
All right, well, terrific.
you don't look at all like him.
Representative Gagny.
Aye.
Representative Groda.
Yes.
Representative Schmidt.
Yes.
Representative Davis.
Yes.
Representative Dargy.
Yes.
Representative Howard.
Yes.
Representative Gallagher.
Yes.
Representative Schultz.
Yes.
And the chair.
Yes,
Looks like it's a clean sweep of 16-0.
excellent.
I do have a question, Madam Chair. In reference to looking at the fiscal impact, it indicates here the department was contacted on the December 10th for a fiscal note worksheet. Where are you guys on that, since it's been 4 months? It was submitted? Okay.
It's very possibly one of the updated fiscal notes, yes?
It is an updated fiscal note, and it says that the LBA states this bill has no fiscal impact.
Okay, so are we free then to, the FN doesn't apply then, so are we free to consent this?
Yes, we are.
And I'll move consent.
Okay, anyone object to consent? Okay, we'll put this one on consent. And Representative Leon, if you get your blurb in quickly, it might even be on for next week.
I don't need debate, so I'll get
Okay.
that to you today.
Thank you. All right. On House Bill 493, Thank you for showing up and
you.
answering our questions. I'd like to move in expedient to legislate.
I'll second.
Okay. And there's a couple of reasons to kill this. The first is that it's badly written. It doesn't properly address who specifies the continuing education for physician assistants or nurse practitioners. It doesn't even, it says as a condition for licensure, but doesn't address how that would be done. And so we would have to make some serious modifications to the bill in order to make it work. And I'm concerned about the principle because this is entirely within the scope for the Board of Medicine or the Board of Nursing to specify this requirement. They could put that in their rules, no problem. And apparently they have declined to do so, but that's their decision. They're the experts on medicine and medical education, not us. And I think that we shouldn't be imposing this. I'm also very concerned by a specific comment that was made during the hearing that apparently they lost cases because child abuse specialists took one position and other physicians took a different position on whether or not it was abuse. And it sounded to me like the point of this training was to indoctrinate all physicians so that they would agree with the child abuse specialists. And I find that very disturbing. Representative Bland?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Additionally, I looked to see what other states do in regard to this training. New York State and Massachusetts have one-time training for doctors. New York also has one-time training for nurse practitioners, all at licensure. Pennsylvania has initial and ongoing training for all providers, the same way this bill is written. And Iowa requires it only for pediatric primary care with only 2 hours every 5 years. This is not something that is done elsewhere as a requirement, which also means that while there's been some great, what sounds like great products offered within the state, it's not like there's many other choices. So if there's not a lot of different choices, we're looking at a narrow selection of courses that would be required. Right now, they're free. We don't know if they'll continue to be free if they're required for licensure. And quite frankly, it's only got off the ground last August. I think that saying that only 59 people have taken the course since then, when we're going over the holiday period and other, I really think more providers will take this training voluntarily. And I think it would be a step too far to mandate this because ophthalmologists, gerontologists, cardiac surgeons have a lot of other things that may be more important to be part of that continuing medical education.
Representative Schmidt?
Okay, well, I think that the remarks just made by the vice chair show us why an ITL motion is not appropriate, especially given the fact that the Hospital Association came in and testified that they don't want the bill, but they didn't have a good reason or any methodology or whatever to deal with a clearly very troubling circumstance that we see in the state of New Hampshire, as testified to by Dr. Wendy Gladstone, who is one of the acknowledged experts and somebody who testifies with regard to such issues on a frequent basis here in New Hampshire and maybe elsewhere. So I think what we need to do is retain the bill so that we can do the work that needs to be done. I take the chair's point with regard to some of the phrasings and so forth, but just kind of walking away from it is not a responsible thing to do when this committee has the necessary expertise to be doing it. So I think the correct motion would be to retain the bill so we do that and not pretend that the situation is not causing a lot of problem because, as was testified to by Dr. Gladstone and also by Dr. Oral, and alluded to by others, we have a problem with so-called ACEs, adverse childhood experiences in the state of New Hampshire, that are not recognized by the attending physician who sees somebody come in, and not everybody, as I said, is going to come in wearing a cast on their arm where they were landed at the bottom of the stairs as a result of an unfortunate accident precipitated possibly by somebody in the family and very possibly by one of the parents. And we know that there's all kind of psychological harm that's done to children by parents who don't know what they're doing, or maybe they do know what they're doing and don't care, that it would be against the law if there were such a law. So this is not something we should responsibly walk away from. So I'll be voting no on the ITL.
Thank you. Representative Pearson?
Madam Chair, thank you. To bounce off something that Representative Schmidt just said, this committee is not the experts on this. We have a board of medicine whose responsibility is to put the framework and the parameters in their profession out to their profession. And that's part of why we did the consolidation of boards. So, at least in my mind, with anything really, when we start to interfere with the operations of a professional board and their requirements, that should be an extraordinarily tall hill to climb to get us to interfere with them. I don't see that here. I think the Board of Medicine needs to handle Board of Medicine things. And if I appreciate the folks that did come here, but they should be arguing this in front of the Board of Medicine, not the ED&A Committee of the House of Representatives. So I agree that it's a problem. I mean, I'm in EMS. I'm a required provider. I see, frankly, a lot of these kids because we respond to their homes. And, we've come across some things that have been horrible, and we do take our duty to report seriously. So please understand that I'm not downplaying the things that occur in the unfortunate acts that parents sometimes get themselves involved in. That's not what we're debating here. We're debating that is the House of Representatives going to override and dictate to the Board of Medicine criteria that is their responsibility to handle. And I can't do that in this case. I don't think the case has been made.
And I will say that that the statute and the Board of Medicine require 100 hours of continuing education every 2 years, which certainly leaves plenty of time for whatever specialty training someone should need. Any other comments? Representative Schultz? Oh, Representative Sitek.
It's just surprising to me that we are more sensitive to this issue than the medical profession itself. I mean, that's just a surprise to me.
Representative Schultz?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a question about, is the amendment something that's being considered or not? Because
If it's an ITL, there's no amendment. I looked at the bill quickly and said, gee, it's not dealing with the Board of Nursing, and put in a clause to do so. And then after the testimony, I changed my mind about bringing that amendment forward. It turned out it was very similar to the amendment that the sponsors brought after their hearing, because the issues of not properly addressing things was brought out in the first committee. Anyone else? Okay. In that case, the motion is inexpedient to legislate, and the clerk can call the roll.
Representative Leon.
Yes.
The clerk votes yes. Representative Pearson.
Yes.
Representative Bailey.
Yes.
Representative Sheehan.
Yes.
Representative Boyd.
Yes.
Representative Slotchie.
Yes.
Representative Gagny.
Yes.
Representative Grota.
no.
Representative Schmidt.
No.
Representative Davis,
No.
Representative Dargy,
No.
Representative Howard,
No.
Representative Gallagher,
No.
and Representative Schultz.
No.
The chair,
Yes.
10-8? No.
It's probably not 10-8.
It's probably not. You're correct. 2, 4,
9 to 7. is
9
it?
to 7.
All right, well, I don't think that's suitable for consent. Is someone going to be writing a minority report?
Yes.
Representative Grote, if you could get it in today, it would be appreciated. And retain in committee is not an appropriate recommendation for the minority report. Okay, you got that? Okay.
What is the exact count?
9-7.
9-7.
All right. Well, thank you. That concludes our business for today. Next week is the budget. There is a presentation by the Finance Committee and the LBA on Tuesday that is probably very interesting. If you care to enjoy it. And on Thursday, we are in session with the last of the budget bills. So it will be educational. Okay, and I will see you all Thursday or maybe Tuesday. Oh, and for planning purposes, we managed to get 24 Senate bills, so we won the lottery on that. We're starting with Wednesday afternoons so that we can support Senate ED&A. I've scheduled some for next Thursday. And I'll try and see if election law has,
Next Wednesday.
next Wednesday. Did I say something wrong?
You said next Thursday.
Oh, no, sorry. We're in bit session on Thursday. I'll try and get some Tuesdays. If election law, it doesn't have that many. But count on most of April to be having hearings.